आप सभी का दिया दिल्ली के सृजन वेब टॉक में स्वागत है। सर्वप्रथम आप सभी को 43वें गणतंत्र दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। साथियों आज का कार्यक्रम हम सभी के लिए बेहद खास होने जा रहा है, क्योंकि साथियों आज जो हमारे साथ गेस्ट जुड़ रहे हैं वो हमारे अपने ही हैं। अ, और आज जो वो गाइडेंस देंगे वो हम सब के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होने जा रहा है और हम सब के लिए माइलस्टोन साबित होने जा रहा है। साथियों आज के इस सृजन वेब टॉक में हम सबके साथ अनुपम शर्मा सर जुड़ रहे हैं। अनुपम शर्मा सर जिन्होंने 2017 में के आईएफएस इंडियन फॉरेन सर्विस एग्जामिनेशन में सेकंड रैंक हासिल की है। साथियों मैं सर के बारे में आप सबको बताना चाहूंगा। साथियों सर जयपुर राजस्थान से बिलोंग करते हैं। सर की स्कूलिंग डीएवी इंटर कॉलेज जयपुर से हुई। इसके बाद सर कोटा के बाद सर ने बीटेक इलेक्ट्रिकल पावर इंजीनियरिंग में आईआईटी दिल्ली से किया और बीटेक के बाद सर अपनी सिविल सर्विस की प्रिपरेशन करने लगे और सर आईएफएस के एग्जामिनेशन में 2016 में 222 नंबर इंटरव्यू में प्राप्त किए, जो कि 5-6 साल में हाईएस्ट नंबर है इंटरव्यू में। और सर ने 2017 में सेकंड टॉपर भी रहे। सर के बारे में एक और न्यूज है जो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट न्यूज है। सर 2021 के 12 बेस्ट आईएएस आईपीएस आईएफएस ऑफिसर में से एक है और सर 2021 में ही 5000 केजी प्लास्टिक वेस्ट का मैनेजमेंट करते हुए 3 गांवों के लिए रोजगार जनरेट किया। सर का वैकल्पिक विषय जूलॉजी और एग्रीकल्चर था। और साथियों कार्यक्रम में हमारे साथ मनीष भैया जुड़ चुके हैं, जो कि हमारे परिवार के मुखिया हैं और साथ ही हिटैची एनर्जी के सीनियर मैनेजर हैं और दिया दिल्ली के चीफ कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं और हम सबको मार्गदर्शन देने के लिए हमेशा बैक एंड सपोर्ट में रहते हैं। साथियों हम अपने इस परिवार दिया दिल्ली के मुखिया आदरणीय मनीष भैया को इनवाइट करना चाहता हूं कि हम सबके समक्ष आए और कार्यक्रम की श्रृंखला को आगे बढ़ाएं। मनीष भैया।
बहुत धन्यवाद सौरभ जी। आप सभी का एक बार फिर से दिया दिल्ली के इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे स्वागत करते हुए बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि आज आप सभी इस 26 जनवरी और गणतंत्र दिवस के शुभ अवसर पे आप सभी जुड़े हैं। और कुछ इसलिए जुड़े हैं कि हमारे साथ अनुपम शर्मा जी आज जुड़े हैं और हम अनुपम शर्मा जी को एक बार फिर से हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हैं, स्वागत करते हैं और आपको आमंत्रित करते हैं कि आप आइए और हम सभी भाइयों को एक बार जरूर आप मार्गदर्शन करें कि कैसे आगे की प्लानिंग की जाए, कैसे आगे की तैयारी की जाए। अनुपम शर्मा जी।
धन्यवाद मनीष जी। और क्या मेरी आवाज आ रही है क्लियरली?
जी आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
सबसे पहले मनीष जी, पीयूष जी, सौरभ जी और पूरे दिया दिल्ली परिवार को मेरा सादर नमस्कार। और सभी जो भी जुड़े हुए हैं, जो भी एस्पिरेंट्स हैं, उन लोगों को भी नमस्कार और गणतंत्र दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। आप में से अभी फॉरेस्ट सर्विस मेंस कौन लिख रहा है? लगभग कितने लोग लिख रहे हैं? अभी मान सकते हैं 59 जुड़े हैं, जिसमें से 9 दिया दिल्ली से होंगे या मैं होऊंगा। 50 लोग हैं, तो 50 में से कितने फॉरेस्ट सर्विस मेंस अभी लिखने वाले हैं? कोई है? 10+। ऑल राइट। तो मतलब जो भी अपना आज का सेशन रहेगा, ये उन लोगों को भी लगभग 10 एस्पिरेंट्स को भी ध्यान में रखते हुए करेंगे। बाकी ब्रॉडली हम क्या रखेंगे कि सबसे पहले आपको मैं बता दूंगा कि आईएफएस क्या रहता है, इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस क्या होती है। उसके बाद में थोड़ा हम जो सिविल सर्विसेज और फॉरेस्ट सर्विसेज एग्जाम्स का जो पैटर्न होता है मोटे मोटे तौर पे, वो थोड़ा हम डिस्कस करेंगे। फिर आईएफएस मेंस का स्पेसिफिक पे आ जाएंगे कि कैसे तैयारी करनी है इसकी। तो शुरू करते हैं। इंट्रोडक्शन मेरा सौरभ जी ने दे ही दिया है, तो उस पे वो स्किप करते हैं और डायरेक्टली आते हैं कि इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस क्या होती है। कोई बताएगा कि ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज कितनी होती हैं और कौन कौन सी होती हैं, और ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज का मतलब क्या होता है? कोई भी अनम्यूट करके या मैसेज में। 3 ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज हैं, अमरीश जी ने बताया है। ठीक है, मैं बिना वेट किए बताते रहता हूँ कि 3 ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज रहती हैं। बिल्कुल नहीं, काव्या जी ने थोड़ा गलत बताया है। हाँ 3, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। एक होती है IAS, एक होती है IFS, एक होती है IPS। राइट, हाँ तो ठीक है ठीक है। तो IAS होती है, सब जानते हैं, इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस, जिसमें सबसे पहले SDM, फिर CEO, ADM और फिर DM बनते हैं। उसके बाद में सेक्रेटरी लेवल पे मंत्रालय में जाते हैं। IPS में सबसे पहले ASP या DAYSP या CSP या फिर एडिशनल SP, और उसके बाद में SP बनते हैं, फिर DIG, IG ये सब जाते हैं। और IFS में सबसे पहले SDO बनते हैं, फिर DFO बनते हैं। DFO का मतलब डिस्ट्रिक्ट फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर या डिविजनल फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर, और उसके बाद में फिर CF, PCCF ये सब बनते हैं, और वो अलग अलग मंत्रालयों में भी सेक्रेटरी इस पद तक भी जाते हैं। तो ऑल इंडिया सर्विस का मोटा मोटा मतलब ये रहता है कि उनका रिक्रूटमेंट तो, और जो भी ओवरऑल कंट्रोल जो होता है वो पूरा सेंटर के पास में होता है, बट जो डे टू डे उनका मैनेजमेंट होता है और उनका जो काम करना होता है वो अलग अलग स्टेट्स में जाके करना होता है, स्टेट कैडर्स में जाके करना होता है। और बाकी जो दूसरी सर्विसेज हैं जैसे IRS हो गया, तो वो सेंट्रल सर्विसेज कही जाती हैं। अब इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस का मेन काम क्या होता है, ये ब्रॉडली तीन है, जो सबसे कॉमन, सबसे माना जा सकता है प्लांटेशन वाला। अब प्लांटेशन हम कहाँ कहाँ पे करते हैं, मान लीजिए कोई फॉरेस्ट का पैच वो डिग्रेडेड हो गया हो, या वहां पे कुछ पौधे ना बचे हो, खराब हो, तो वहां पे पौधारोपण करना, ये सबसे कॉमन एक हमारी ड्यूटी होती है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है। दूसरा होता है प्रोटेक्शन। अब प्रोटेक्शन में बहुत चीजें आती हैं, और प्रोटेक्शन हमें फॉरेस्ट की करनी होती है, पेड़ों की करनी होती है, जानवरों की करनी होती है, और उन सारे जीवों की करनी होती है जो खुद के बारे में, खुद के लिए नहीं बोल सकते। तो एक तरह से जो फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट होता है या वन विभाग होता है, वो उनकी आवाज बनता है। और अब प्रोटेक्शन किस किस फोर्सेस के अगेंस्ट हमें जाके करनी होती है, एक हो गया एनक्रोचमेंट, अतिक्रमण। कई लोग होते हैं जो जंगल की जमीन पे अतिक्रमण करने की कोशिश करते हैं, हमें उन्हें रोकना होता है, या अगर कोई अतिक्रमण करने का प्रयास कर रहा है या कर लिया है तो उसको हटाना होता है। दूसरा हो गया अवैध कटाई हो गया, या फिर इलीगल पोचिंग हो गया। पोचिंग मतलब जानवरों की हंटिंग। और ये तो हो गए मेनली मैनमेड जो भी प्रेशर्स हैं, जो भी दबाव हैं। एक ग्रेजिंग भी हो गया। इसके अलावा जो नेचुरल प्रेशर्स होते हैं, जैसे फॉरेस्ट फायर हो गया, आग वगैरह हो गया, और डिजीजेस वगैरह हो गई पेड़ पौधों में या जंगलों में, तो इन सब से हम प्रोटेक्शन करते हैं, वन विभाग प्रोटेक्शन करता है। तीसरा जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एक ब्रॉडली ड्यूटी जो रहती है, दायित्व जो होता है हमारा, या IFS ऑफिसर्स का या पूरे वन विभाग का, वो रहता है डेवलपमेंट। अब डेवलपमेंट किसका? डेवलपमेंट उन फॉरेस्ट डिपेंडेंट कम्युनिटीज का जिनका मेन जो आत्मनिर्भरता होती है वो जंगलों पे होती है, या जंगलों के जैव संसाधनों पे होती है, बायो रिसोर्सेज पे होती है। बायो रिसोर्सेज कौन से हो सकते हैं? जैसे तेंदुपत्ता हो गया जिससे सिगरेट बनती है, महुआ हो गया, चिरौंजी हो गए, आचार, ये बेलगूदा हो गया, हनी हो गया, आंवला हो गया, बहुत सारे फॉरेस्ट के प्रोड्यूस होते हैं। या फिर कुछ जलाऊ फ्यूल हो गया। तो इन सब पे काफी लोग डिपेंडेंट होते हैं। इंडिया में माना जाता है कि लगभग 20 से 30 करोड़ लोग, ये टू अ ग्रेट एक्सटेंट दे आर डिपेंडेंट अपॉन फॉरेस्ट। तो इनका डेवलपमेंट कैसे होगा, ये सब भी इसमें एक महत्वपूर्ण किरदार होता है वन विभाग का। क्योंकि जो नॉर्मल प्रशासन होता है, जो DM के अंडर होता है, वो मेनली जो अपने ग्राम सभा, ग्राम पंचायत या मेन स्ट्रीम सोसाइटी जो बोल सकते हैं, वहां तक ही उनकी रीच होती है। बाकी जंगल के आसपास वाले जो गांव होते हैं, या फिर इनफैक्ट कुछ गांव जंगल के अंदर भी होते हैं, उनके ऊपर या उनके पास में विकास को पहुंचाने में वन विभाग की काफी एक अहम इंपॉर्टेंट रोल होता है। तो ये फॉरेस्ट सर्विस का मोटा मोटा बता दिया है। बाकी अब अपन आते हैं कि फॉरेस्ट सर्विस में, इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस में या फिर IAS IPS में, सिविल सर्विसेज में कैसे एंट्री लेनी है हमें, यहाँ तक अभी किसी को कोई डाउट है? एक हमने सेगमेंट कवर कर लिया है कि ब्रॉडली फॉरेस्ट सर्विस में या इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस ऑफिसर्स का क्या रोल रहता है। किसी को कुछ इसमें पूछना है? ठीक है, तो अब अपन नेक्स्ट सेगमेंट पे चलते हैं। स्टार्ट द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑन माय ओन सिस्टम। सो बेसिकली द प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम, हाँ नेक्स्ट प्लीज। So prelims exam for both the services, Indian Forest Service and Civil Services, they have been clubbed since 2013, and you might also be knowing that cutoff of forest prelims is cutoff of prelims for Forest Service is much higher, maybe around 10-15 marks higher compared to Civil Services, because the usual intake is only around 1/8 to 1/9 of the Civil Services. On an average per year 100 civil servants for forest service they are taken, and around 800-900 in civil services are taken. So if the cutoff of civil services is around 100, then for forest service it may be around 110 or 115. And prelims, everyone I hope most of you might be knowing the pattern: 200 marks for GS, 200 marks for CSET, 100 questions in GS and 80 questions in CSET. This means I have written marks for civil services, and interview also 275 is for civil services. But for forest service, it is slightly different. In forest services, overall it is 1400 for mains, 1400 marks for mains, and around exactly 300 for interview. And out of those, please move ahead. Will continue on my own. So out of those 1400 for forest service mains, around 300 is for GS, general studies, 300 is for English, 400 is for optional 1, 400 is for optional 2. So both the optional papers have two papers, and just like in civils we have only one optional, but in forest services we have two optionals. And usually the IFS aspirants, they take forestry as one of the optionals because it is easy to prepare also. Maybe it may be prepared in around 15 to 20 days also. And so starting with prelims, so how to prepare or from where to prepare? Sources for the static portions, I think everyone might be knowing. So should I cover this or can I skip? 2-3 persons can type. Should I cover it? Because 3-4 minutes may be spent. All right. Okay. We'll go ahead. Next, please. Just a second. If I feel that something is, please, the previous slide. If something is worth mentioning, only then I'll tell. Just one thing, that choose a source wisely and do not and take into account how much time any particular source may take, and the amount of time which you are investing to any book, any source, must be proportionate to the weightage it is having in the prelims. For instance, if it is ancient history or medieval history, then you are not expected to give more than 2-3 days for that, or hardly 1 or 2 days if you are giving, it would be sufficient. Next, please. For current sources, I think everyone might be knowing, but here earlier I used to feel that Vision pre-365 or Mains 365, they used to be a good source, but now in recent years, maybe last 3-4 years or 2-3 years, they are putting a lot of content in their booklets. So it may be consuming around 10-15, minimum 15 days for preparation, at least reading twice. So the cost benefit I am feeling is not up to the desired extent. So you may refer to other sources also. Plus for a secondary source, you can watch some crash course on YouTube. For instance, in last 2-3 years, I think Byju's, Pathfinder, La Excellence, IS Baba, they are providing some crash course videos on YouTube, which may be covered in 3-4 days itself. Then PIB year-end review of most important ministries and departments have to be read. For instance, MOEF, they should be read. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, that has to be read. PIB year-end review, you just Google it and you'll get it. Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology. So mainly these four have to be covered. Then one interesting source is government booklet of 1-year achievements. Actually, the current government, BJP government, it was elected in May. In 14 also, it was elected on 26th May. In 2019 also, I think the results of general elections were announced in May only. So every year in May, the NDA government or BJP government, it declares or it publishes a small booklet, e-booklet, which has the most important achievements of the government in last 1 year or in last 2-3 years, 7 years maybe. And that booklet can be read in around 2-3 years. So it would be a very smart source to prepare for current affairs. Next, please. Miscellaneous sources. This previous year questions. It is a very important strategy or very important source. If I have to tell only one or the single most important thing, single most important strategy for both prelims and mains, it would be the previous year questions. So why previous year questions are important, I think everyone would be knowing. Newspapers, against the common perception, they are not as much useful for prelims as they might be useful for mains. So, but yes, keeping in touch with current affairs is definitely beneficial. Then for difficult concepts, you can always refer the YouTube videos. Next. Strategy, briefly, I have written previous year questions analysis. You have to maintain or read only a limited sources. For instance, for polity, read only Lakshmikant, nothing else. I mean, for static portion. For this is for prelims. For mains, some static portion has to be read from other sources also. And for the limited sources, you have to do multiple revisions. Revisions should be at least 3-4, and because if you are relying only on the books, only on the standard sources, or only on the very detailed 10s or 20 registers, then you won't be able to revise all those in a short span of time. So short notes should be there. Then you should not be shying away from taking intelligent guesswork in the exams, because if you have to clear forest services prelims cutoff, then definitely you have to take the intelligent guesswork. And the exam days, they are just a manifestation of the preparation which we have given or which we have put in for the entire year. And for the entire year, I mean, exam should not be considered as just a 2-hour thing or 3-hour thing. Exam is for the whole year, and for the whole year, you have to show a discipline, a persistence also. Study hours should be properly decided. At least 8 hours, 10 hours, at least should be given. And if someone is working, then they have to give as much time as possible. Sleep also is a very important aspect. At least 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep is necessary, is minimum necessary. Because if you are deprived of sleep, then nothing would be registered in your memory. Physical activity or exercise per day for around 10-15 minutes minimum is necessary. Healthy hygienic food. Infotainment also may be a good strategy whenever you are feeling bored. And in this aspect, ABP News का प्रधानमंत्री web series, it is very good. ABP News Bharatvarsh series for modern history and ancient history is also very good. You may check after this session. Then test series, you should only prepare an optimum number. Optimum number is just around 6 to 8 tests, not more than that. Sometimes I've seen for prelims, aspirants are trying to solve or giving almost hundreds of hours for test series, around 50-60 tests they are writing. But in my personal opinion, in fact, as per the opinion of my friends also, my batchmates also, who are scoring very good in prelims, they are never resorting to too many tests. Tests are necessary or are important only for developing the temperament for the exams, for identifying some weak areas if possible, and just nothing else. But previous year questions are to be solved again and again. Maybe around 3-4 times previous year questions have to be seen and analyzed. Next, please. Regarding the mains, right now I am covering only the civil services, but for forest service I would be covering in detail. So the sources, apart from pre-sources and coaching material sources like Vision or VA might be given, self notes have to be prepared, but self notes have to be very brief, very concise, and how we can direct the how we can make the self notes very concise is through syllabus points and previous year questions. Next. Strategy here is again similar. Some points are similar to prelims. Then syllabus has to be kept in mind. Previous year questions, notes, and multiple revisions of those notes. Data bank. But now, because some coachings are putting their own data bank. For instance, Drishti IAS might have. I had seen some booklets of Drishti IAS. Then Vision IAS also might have uploaded its data bank. Maybe around 15-20 pages data bank, so that can be used or that should be used. You need not prepare your own. And answer writing, intro, body, conclusion, everyone knows. And next point. Next slide, please. For interview, I think this can be skipped for now. Just there are 3 broad areas which are to be prepared for interview: DEF, current affairs, and personal or HR based questions. For instance, what is your strength? What is your goal of life? Just this. Next, please. For interview, these 4 qualities I felt are very important. Next, please. Because for interview, we can take another session in future. Strategies. There's also general tips. Next, please. How many attempts to give? This is very important in my opinion. You should not be too much emotional about clearing the civil services or the forest service. After all, these are just jobs. Although they are very good jobs, but still they are jobs. They are not bigger than life. They are not bigger than everything else. So if you want to do good in the life, or if you want to achieve something great, then there are hundreds of options. For instance, you who has heard the name of Ranjit Singh Desale? Anyone who has heard the name of Ranjit Singh Desale? Or I am not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Interview for forest service is held in English only, but for exactly global teacher award. But for civil services, it can be held in your mother tongue also. So the impact which he had, Ranjit Singh Desale, Shri Ranjit Singh Desale, he had on teaching or on education, that is not even comparable. I mean, his contribution is uncomparable to the contribution of hundreds of IAS or IPS or IFS officers. So if you want to achieve something, you will be having a number of ways. So ideal number of attempts, this also, you should not be giving, or you should not plan that if I am not selected in this attempt, then next attempt, then even if in not in next attempt, then another attempt. So by giving attempts and after attempts, entire youthful stage of many aspirants may be wasted. So there you should plan for yourself that how many attempts you have to give. It may be 2, it may be 3, it may be 4. In my personal opinion, it should not be less than 4. It should not be more than 4, sorry. either 2 or 3 or 4. One attempt may be very impractical. IFS means both Indian Forest Service also and Indian Foreign Service also. But suppose if any IFS officer is sitting in any district or holding any position in a district in India or in a state cadre, suppose if I have to introduce myself, then I will say IFS of Madhya Pradesh cadre. Then it will automatically mean that I am Indian Forest Service officer, not Foreign Service, because only the All India services have the associated cadre. Next, please. And apart from civil services or forest services, you should also keep in mind or target other exams, state PSC, RBI, NABARD, NET JRF. Then teaching profession would be good, social sector or NGOs would be good, or switching back to IT sector would also, or entering the IT sector is also an option, because since COVID, there has been a great resignation period, which many are saying, and there are a lot of opportunities in IT sector also. Next. Any questions with respect to any of the things which we have covered? All right. So we can start now with the detail of preparation for IFS Mains, Forest Services Mains. And because the optionals would be multiple, sorry, this is of last year. I had delivered the presentation somewhere. Want to know about Indian Foreign Service? Foreign Service, they just mainly they serve as ambassadors. They represent the country at our country India at international level. Actually, this presentation is of last year, which I had delivered at some platform. So that's why the analysis of 2020 paper has not been included, but we'll update it and we'll share with you guys soon. So would be covering today, we would be covering mainly the GS strategy and the English strategy for IFS Mains, because sir, I'm in 12th. Can I prepare with self-study? If you are in 12th, then you should first focus on your graduation subject also. And because since 12th, it should not be, or it is not prudent, it is not wise to start preparation since 12th itself. Maybe in second or third year, you may think about civil services or forest service. From this level itself, this stage itself, you should not constrain your options in life. For Indian Foreign Service, you should write civil services examination. So the GS Mains of Forest Service, it has around 6 sections, roughly 6 sections, which roughly correspond to history, economy, polity, biotech or biology, and science and tech. So this economy segment may include one question on society also, but mostly it is negligible. The society portion, which we see around 6-7 questions in civil services GS1, it is not there in forest service. Then here the geography section may include environment and disaster questions also, and biology or biotechnology, it may include environment questions also, and it is a new segment which has been asked only in 2018 and 19. I am not sure about whether it was asked in 2020 also, but we'll be checking it, we'll be analyzing the papers, and then we'll send you the updated PPTs. Each section is worth 50 marks and has 4 questions, 2 questions of 15 marks each and 2 questions of 10 marks each. In 2017, the paper pattern was different. So the basic underlying theme is that you should not constrain or you should not restrict yourself according to any particular pattern, but you should be prepared for any change in pattern also. Next, please, slide. Just like I told, there have been multiple times changes in patterns. For instance, environment, it was a significant area till 2016, but since then it is not asked in entirety. Maybe one or two questions here and there. So do CSE botany optional and IFS botany optional. The syllabus is largely the same, but the level of questions, it may be slightly difficult in IFS means than in than in civil services means. Agriculture as a separate domain, as a separate subject, was asked in GS mains in only 2017. All this I'm talking about forest services means. IR, international relations, was in 2 years only, 14 and 15. Biotechnology has been asked since 2018. And this very factual things, the persons in news, abbreviations, short, sports terms or authors and books correlation, these kind of extremely factual things were asked till 2012 also, till 2012 only. So now I don't think you need to prepare all these. Next. Differences from civil services, roughly I have told also, but still some portions they are not asked in forest services, which are asked in civil services are firstly world history, which was in GS paper 1 in civils, then post independence history, then international relations is also not asked much, hardly one question may be asked. Then security aspect is not there, ethics is completely absent. World history is not there in forest services means. So why I am explicitly telling you this, that even if you are relying on revising the civil services notes, GS notes only for forest services means, then you can skip these portions. And if you have less time, then you should also skip society portion, because here in forest service the weightage to social issues or society is very less. Then some aspects are covered or are given more weightage for forest service means, for instance, particularly these two, ancient and medieval history and science. Next, please. The time management, I don't think I have to cover it, largely because overall questions would be 24. It is slightly higher than civil services means. So the speed requirement is more or speed is more important in forest services means compared to civil services means. Time allocation also you may check that for 10 marker question at max 6 minutes you have to give, and for 15 marker 9 minutes. You may use a digital watch also. Space, roughly 10 marks question may be given 1 to 1.5 pages, and 15 marks to around 2 to 2. जस्ट 2 के थोड़ा सा ज्यादा 2-4 लाइन तीसरे पन्ने पे हो जाएंगी. बाकी it's very important to check the number of pages for each answer. For instance, before 2017, even the 10 marker question was allotted around 2 to 3 pages, and accordingly many aspirants had just prepared for that level of or that pattern only. But in 2017 there was a surprise, only 1 page was given for each question. So some aspirants, they just started in the first paper or on the first page, and then when they turned back they could not see any space, so it was a bad surprise for them. Then the same strategy, that do not leave any question which you know. Obviously, if anything which you do not know, it has to be left. So maximize the attempts. This is the underlining thing. Next. Preparation may require around 4 to 5 days or 6 days. If you have already prepared thoroughly for civil services means, then there is no need to read anything new. Just some important topics of ancient and medieval history, and which important or which topics to be read for ancient and medieval, these can be inferred using previous year questions for forest services means, and it will take around 1 day only. Then revising the static GS notes of civil services means, they will take around 2 to 3 days. And here ignore all those portions which are absent in forest services means. For current affairs, the revision should focus only on the most important topics and not on every topic which you are preparing for civil services. because here the current affairs weightage or importance is not to that level compared to civil services. So roughly I think around 40-50 topics or topics can be prepared for current affairs. Science and biology, they are arbitrary, so do not bother much about them. Just read some static portion from NCRTs. Last point can be ignored. Next, please. These are just science and tech questions, which you may read after I have shared the slides, because otherwise it will take much time. Next, please. Bio also, since 2018 it is there. Next, please. Actually, this presentation I had given almost exactly 1 year ago. So these are some tentative, most important current affairs to be prepared for IFS Mains 2020-21. So this has to be skipped. This again is that only. Same. Geography, same. Bio also. If I would be getting time, although it might be difficult for me, but still I'll try my level best to just note down tentatively the most important topics which can be prepared for current affairs IFS Mains GS. Next, please. So if anyone is having any major doubt, then it can be asked. Or in the meantime, we can switch to Mains English, GS, no, sorry, IFS English Mains. Every option is good for forest services. In fact, it is always advised that you take whichever subject you have read in your graduation. If it is engineering, then and if it was not very bad for you, then take the engineering optional plus forestry, obviously. And if your background was zoology, then take zoology as an optional apart from forestry. It is also a good optional, but some aspirants feel it is a bit lengthy. And there are a lot of factual things also which have to be mugged up, maybe. So, sorry. So the English paper again is of 300 marks. It is of 300 marks, and the partition of that paper is as follows. IFS में साइंस ही होती है क्या? साइंस सारा होता है ना, पॉलिटी, इकोनॉमी, ज्योग्राफी बताया अभी. साइंस भी शायद यू माइट हैव बीन आस्किंग. साइंस स्पेसिफिकली बहुत ज्यादा नहीं होती है, बट हाँ 3-4 क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं. और साइंस के जो सब थीम्स होती हैं, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी और बायोलॉजी, वो होती है आजकल में एटलीस्ट आने लगी है. हाँ, तो पैटर्न ये रहता है कि सबसे पहला जो क्वेश्चन होता है वो ऐसे का होता है, इट इज वर्थ 100 मार्क्स. लेटर एंड रिपोर्ट, they are the next question, which take 25, overall 50 marks. Pressy writing 50 marks, passage 50 marks, grammar 50 marks, and overall combined it is 300 marks. Marks wise time allocation I have written in the third column, but the actual time which most candidates end up giving to that particular segment may be slightly different. For instance, grammar takes some time, somewhat more time, and letter or essay make less time. Passage also takes less time. Next, please. So the last column, actual time, it is just to give you a tentative plan how you can allocate time during your exam. Next, please. Strategy would be to solve last 8-year questions from 2013 to 2020, or either if there is any book available in the market regarding forest services previous year questions solved. सर जैसे IAS में जो ऑप्शनल लेते हैं वो भी हम IFS में भी ले सकते हैं, बिल्कुल ले सकते हैं, सेम हो सकता है। बस सिविल सर्विसेज में जो ऑप्शनल्स होते हैं वो मेनली साइंस बेस्ड ऑप्शनल्स ही होते हैं और इंजीनियरिंग वाले ऑप्शनल्स होते हैं। और फॉरेस्ट और सिविल व्हाट प्रोबेबली आई told something wrong. In civil services, science-based optionals, engineering optionals, and humanities optionals, everything is there as for the aspirants. But in forest services, only science-based and engineering optionals are there. So the previous year question solutions can be done in a study group also. For instance, if you are 2-3 friends, then one friend may cover 2-year questions, other one may cover 3-year, the third one may cover 3-year questions, or you may do it segment wise. For instance, one may try solving geography and economy, second may try solving polity and environment. I think you got the point. Then minimum 2-3 days would be needed for this English preparation, and try solving at least last 3-4 year question papers for English. Then order is also very important. How or in which order you have to solve the English paper. Grammar, it has to be, in my opinion, or based upon my experience, it has to be solved first, because either you would be knowing it or you won't be knowing it, and try to finish it as quickly as possible. But still, it may you may end up giving around 35 to 40 minutes to grammar. Then at second stage, you should attempt either passage or letter or report, because they are the questions which take less time but give you around 50 or 25 marks easily. Then at third stage or third level, you should write or you should attempt Pressy. Then essay should be the fourth one, because even if you would be having around 30 minutes, then also you may be able to write a handsome essay. Next. Regarding the essay, now I would be covering every question segment in detail. So essay takes around 100 marks. According to the marks, it is given around 1 hour, but you may give around 40 to 50 minutes also. Then most important themes for IFS Mains essay is English essay is the environment, and in recent years these topics have been asked in environment theme. Then education is also very important. Women and current affairs sometimes are asked. So for preparing English for forest Mains, you have to focus on essay also, and for essay you may write around 4 or 5 mock essays on these topics or these themes. Next, please. Letter, it takes, or it is given 25 marks. It has to be written in 150 words, and body has to be written in 120 words. What is body and what is any other thing, that we will see in next page. And first check the given space, because I have written 2-3 mains in forest services. At one point of time, only 1 page was given for the letter, and in another year 2 pages was given. So please check it carefully. And do not write your name or address anywhere in the paper, anywhere, and use only fictitious names like XYZ ABC PQR. Suppose if I'm Anupam, then I also should not write Ram or Lakshman or maybe Ankit, because the examiner may think that Ankit is my real name. So only XYZ ABC PQR, which cannot be the name of any person, they have to be used. Next. Otherwise, -5 can be given to you. letters, previous year questions have been this. So one analysis which we can draw is that mostly it is letter to the editor of a newspaper. And the basic themes are, first one was environment, then youth, then language. I mean the diverse themes, but it is mainly the letter to the editor. Next, please. This is the slide which you have to mug up. This is the format of the essay. So at the top, you have to write the sender's address, who is writing the letter. Then there would be a small gap. Then it would be date. Date would be your exam date. Then there would be a small gap. Then it would be receiver's address. And now, because most of the questions have been to the editor, the editor, PQR newspaper, or XYZ city, whatever you have to write, this would be the format. Then again, one space gap, some gap. Then subject would be there. Subject usually occupies around 6 to 8 words, and it should be within one line, and it should be underlined. Then respected word should be used as a salutation, and sir/madam both should be used, because we do not know the gender of the person whoever is checking, or to whom we are addressing the letter. Then now the body is there. So as I had told earlier, that body has to be covered in around 120 words. And initially it would be introduction. Introduction may cover something about yourself, then about the problem in brief. Then main content should be there. You should give proper detailed facts about the any issue, any problem, why it has been there, and what have been the impacts of that problem, that issue. And in conclusion, you can give some solutions. You may suggest some recommendations. At last, there should be again a blank, or again a space, then thank you, then space, then yours faithfully or sincerely, whichever word you like, then Mr. XYZ or ABC, I mean you, but not your name. And designation, you may write as a just write concerned citizen, nothing else. Next, please. These are some points to be remembered. For instance, the letter has to be written not targeted towards the editor of the newspaper. I'm saying again and again editor, because in last 4 or 5 years only the letter to editor has been asked. So the main objective is not to draw the attention of the editor per se, but to draw the attention of general public. Then some recent news reports, some survey reports, they have to be quoted. I mean, you may write your own fictitious report that as per ministry, suppose if any issue is on agriculture, then as per Ministry of Agriculture report, annual report, this something. Analyze the issues, cover every issue, every problem in a multi-dimensional way. Suggestions I have already told. The language of the letter should be very appropriate for an officer. Be very courteous, gentle, even if you are criticizing anything. Next, please. Then these are the lines for the letters, which again you have to mug up, because it will be just saving the time. So first line in the body can be that this is to draw your attention towards, now write your issue. For instance, this is to draw your attention towards the plastic bags which are thrown openly in the public places, or something like that. Then if it is letter to editor, you may write a detailed sentence also, that through the esteemed columns of your prestigious newspaper, I would like to draw the attention of the concerned authorities towards plastic waste pollution, something like that. Then in the last line also, these are the sample lines or sample statements which you may use. For instance, if we check the second statement, I hope some effective measures would be will soon be adopted to improve the existing situation, or whichever line you feel is more appropriate for the situation, for the letter, you may use that. But these are some ready-made lines which you may mug up for the letter. Next, please. Now, report is for 25 marks, and The format is very easy. You have to write a title or a heading, underline it, then by XYZ. XYZ ideally is your name, but obviously, let's say someone has raised a doubt. My name is from a village of PR. I want to prepare for UPSC, but I do not have any guide and I have no idea where to start, how to do it. Someone please help me. For our students. Dear Delhi mentors can definitely help you, no issues in that. In fact, Saurabh ji or Piyush ji may please contact Dhruv after the session. So XYZ is your name, but you should not write your name, only XYZ. Then the content would be starting, but before content, the place should be written XYZ or ABC. Zoology optional कैसा है for Hindi medium? For Hindi medium, zoology might be a bit tougher. So place and date you have to write, then colon, and then your content. Next, please. These are scoring नहीं रहेगा क्या सर जियोलॉजी? हिंदी में यार जो मुझे लगता है वो शायद ये डिफिकल्ट रहेगा जूलॉजी, बट एक कोचिंग है इवोल्यूशन, वो जूलॉजी काफी अच्छे से कवर करते हैं. एक बार उनसे और कंसल्ट कर लेना कि हिंदी मीडियम में जूलॉजी कैसे रहेगा. प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस आप बस देख सकते हैं फॉर योर रेफरेंस. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. सो इंग्लिश मीडियम में बेस्ट क्या है किस चीज के लिए? फॉर फॉरेस्ट सर्विस और फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज? For forest service, one optional obviously would be, or most often it is forestry, and another optional you may take as per your background, or for civil services you are according to your aptitude only. अगर आपका background कुछ रहा है, agriculture optional. एक्चुअली अपन ऐसा करते हैं कि जो भी डाउट्स हैं ये हम एक बार पूरा सेगमेंट खत्म हो जाए उसके बाद में फिर अपन कवर कर देते हैं. तो जो भी जूलॉजी और एग्रीकल्चर के डाउट्स हैं ये अपन इसके बाद में करते हैं. सो इसमें जो रिपोर्ट में सारी चीजें पास्ट टेंस में लिखनी होती हैं, और हाँ, इन कंटेंट इट इज एडवाइजेबल टू राइट sources also according to XYZ report. And now XY, suppose if anything is on health, then you just write according to World Health Organization reports or according to Ministry of Health and Family Welfare reports. Then include some information collected from people also. It can be written as per the residents of this colony, plastic waste is creating nuisance, it is attracting more dogs, something you may write. Now, proper conclusion should be there. Next point. Conclusion in the form of recommendations. Now, essay is covered, letter is covered, and report is covered. Now, coming to Pressy writing. Pressy writing is means that there would be a big passage. You have to read it, understand it, and comprehend it in around 1/3 or very little words. So this is Pressy writing. And this 1/3 words is a very important aspect, and strictly adhere to the word limit because it is very important in Pressy writing. And why Pressy writing is important, this I didn't feel during the exams, but now in service it I feel it is a very important portion, because often we have to civil servants have to read long reports, long letters, and then they have to comprehend that letter or that report in very small space or very few lines. So in that, Pressy skills are important. And usually the number of words of the passage, it is around 450. In 2019 it was 501. Then all the number of words in successive or preceding years I have written, you may check. So broadly I have taken around 400 words, 450 words. So its 1/3 would be around 150 words. And margin can be 8 to 10 words, but it's better that you write a 450 word passage in around 150 or 145 to 155 words, not very less words and not also very more words. Also, it's a good practice to mention the exact number of words which you have written for the Pressy at the end of your passage. Then there is no need to give or write any specific title for the passage, and this is very important. It has to be, Pressy has to be written on your own words, and whichever you are feeling, even if it is not of proper 100% correct grammatically, even then you have to try attempting or writing it in your own words. Do not exactly copy paste some or the other lines of the passage, original passage. Next, please. These are previous year themes of the passages for Pressy writing. Next. Regarding the passage, it takes or it is allocated 50 marks, 5 questions, 10 marks each, and time division you may give that for 1 minute you may read all the questions very quickly, so that when you would be reading the passage, at least you would be having some idea that this was asked in the question, so here I have to give more focus. And then in next 3-4 minutes you quickly read the passage, and if by chance, by luck, if you stumble upon the areas where the answer to the question is there, then you may just pinpoint it. Then next 5 minutes you may search for the answer tentatively. Hardly it will take 1 minute for each question. Then answer writing may take around 3-4 minutes each, and so if we are giving 3 to 4 minutes, then for 5 questions that will be 15 to 20 minutes, and overall it will cover around 25 minutes. Yes. Now passage previous year questions, the themes it is written. Next, please. Grammar. So mostly the grammar, it has around 6 questions, 6 sub questions. Grammar errors, 10 marks. Sentences or homophones, 10 marks. Idioms, 10 marks. Adjectives, 5 marks. Nouns, 5 marks. Or write as per directions, it is 10 marks. What exactly are these? You will directly get to know once you check the previous year questions. So grammatical errors is that 10 sentences would be given, and in each sentence there would be a minor English error, and you have to rewrite the sentence after correcting that error. It is very easy, no need to prepare anything separately, just solve previous year questions so as to get a idea of how or which kind of errors are being asked, nothing else, no extra preparation. Then regarding homophones, homophones mean 2 or more words which sound similar, but exactly they are not equal, or they do not mean the same thing. For instance, complement and complement and complement. Complement means any good words for any person. Complement means anything which is completing some other thing, or thought, throw. These may be sounding similar but are different. Now homophones, they can be they have to be prepared separately, and they are very easy to prepare also. Hardly it will take around 3-4 hours to prepare the most common set of homophones. Most common would be around 50 set of homophones, which you may prepare in 2-3 hours. Next, again, most important, idioms, 200-300 you may prepare. This also needs some preparation, and it will again take around 3-4 hours. Adjective form and nouns, these are very easy, just see previous year questions and you'll get to know. Directed, that write the passive, write this statement in passive voice, write this statement in direct speech, indirect speech, or they may give some directions. Accordingly, you have to write the things. Here, it is not very easy, but if you resort to preparing each type of directions, then it will take a lot of time. So just solve previous year questions, nothing else. Next, please. So these
तो सेशन समाप्त करते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर दिस इंटरेक्टिव सेशन। आप सभी का भी दिया दिल्ली के इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़ने के लिए धन्यवाद, और अब मिलते हैं जल्दी एक नए कार्यक्रम के साथ।
नमस्ते, all the best for everyone.